All right, guys, thank you for joining me. If the professional loiterer is on here watching, there is no talk of a $1 walking tax. I just looked it up. Supposedly, it's false. Don't know where that started, but if you could let me know where that started, if you're watching this, um, yeah, I'd like to know where that rumor started. But no, there is no professional walking tax. I mean, professional walking tax. Excuse me. There is no walking tax. All right. Thank you for the 5x5. WTC, Patty, Elaine. Appreciate the 5x5. Let's see if we can switch gears. Nope. All right. So let's start from here. It's better to, no, forget it. Prep to adapt, evolve immediate, no want. Thank you for the 5x5. Angelwood, Flown Lisa, Joe, Maria, Elaine, Jeep Dog. Thank you for the 5x5. WTC, Patty, Dobie, Matthew, Raccoon, Adam, Dana. Thank you for the 5x5. King, Blast, Master Blast, excuse me. Kathy, Wallace, thank you for the 5x5. Comet Mood, thank you for the 5x5. I appreciate it. Nancy, Moose, thank you for the 5x5. And yes, guys, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Appreciate it. So, tonight we're just going to talk about DEI. I'm not going to get I'm not going to dive too far into it, but I noticed that people were blaming the Canadian plane crash and the whole DEI thing, right? And I know that thongs are happening fast or things are happening fast. Because thongs are happening fast, I don't know what to tell you. Kathy Wallace, thank you for 5x5. If I said that already. Um, yes, Hammond. I was a DEI hire. I was on a fire department before this DEI nonsense, and you can't be a DEI hire in the early 2000s. It's impossible. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of women now who are DEI hires in the fire department. Like just not the FDNY, but like any major city. There's a DEI. A lot of them are DEI hires. They can't do the job. They can't do the job, and they're getting it just because they're a woman, which sucks, right? Because that puts people's lives in danger. And we haven't. I mean, the helicopter crash in D.C. That is that's a rough one. I mean, could I sit there and say for sure it was her fault 100%? I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I haven't looked it up since I heard the accident. Um, but we shall see. Lorf. No, that was not my firehouse that collapsed. That firehouse is like upstate somewhere. I work in the city, like a real firefighter. Like not a volley. No offense to any volleys, but I'm pretty sure that I offended some volleys. Like, how dare you, you piece of shit? We go to fires too. There's always this little rift between volleys and paid firefighters. But yeah, no. So remember too, you also had the people blame DEI like on a plane in Canada, and they said it was the wind. I was watching the plane land. That wasn't the wind, unless she was fighting the wind as it was coming down. I mean, it was sort of hard to tell, but to watch that plane flip over, I mean, she hit that ground hard. Right, the helicopter incident in D.C. That's another one that was a little DEI ish, but who knows? There were people who brought out like her record, and I don't know how they found this information, but they had all of this information on her. And supposedly, she shouldn't have been flying, but she didn't have enough time to be flying. That time behind is it called the yoke? Right? Is that what it's called? To fly or to stick? I don't know what they call it in helicopters. She didn't flare the plane. There was a lot that she didn't that they said she should have done, but they said she was focused on one. So I'm watching the video. They were coming. If this makes sense, they were coming sort of like this, like they were verging on each other. And they weren't parallel. They weren't. It wasn't a T-bone, but it was sort of like a what you call it. And not for nothing, she's looking at a plane that was probably about a mile or so to her right. So I'm not mistaken. The plane was on her left. You can still, unless you're cocking your head all the way this way, there's no way she shouldn't have not seen that plane. There's no way that her system should have not picked up the plane. The plane also has systems that would have picked up the helicopter, telling that they were going to collide. Right? Collision warnings are all over that, all over these helicopters and planes, and none of the systems picked it up. People are like, oh, she was flying without a radar. It still doesn't turn off the collision warning system. Every last one of these devices has a collision warning. I know helicopters, Blackhawks do. I don't know about regular helicopters, but Blackhawks do. From my understanding, I could be wrong. Excuse me, I could be wrong. From my understanding, they do as well. Um, but I don't know, man. And people were like, oh, because she knew somebody in the rank and she shouldn't have been in there, and it was all of this talk, and then people said DEI. But all of these planes, guys, all of these planes that are having these mishaps and falling out of the skies, this is not DEI. This has got to be something else. Now, bear with me. Could it be that a lot of the things we're seeing are people? How do I say this? Are people that are becoming stupid because of the arm ticket? What I'm saying is that did the arm ticket affect people's reactions, common sense? Because the helicopter thing, looking at the video, and from two different angles, there's no reason, and not for nothing, you had other people on the plane, on the helicopter with you. So regardless, was everybody in the helicopter looking to their right? Something wasn't right about that. That's what I mean. Like, everybody's looking around, and you see this fucking plane, and even if one person's looking out of their left, that person's gonna warn them, yo, listen, there's something up ahead, or get their attention, or scream or something. The plane tried to move. When you look at the video closer, you can see the lights of the plane shift to the left a little bit, like trying to avoid it, and they couldn't. So I watched another video of a helicopter pilot, which sort of made sense, did the same thing. Robot chopper. Yeah, the drone, right? Someone said that the Black Hawk might have been a drone. I don't know how true that is, right? But and I saw a video from 2020 or 21 of a Black Hawk helicopter being flown under a drone pilot. Anyway, so I saw another video. It was in Australia of a helicopter taking off, and you could see where this video starts from the beginning. One helicopter's taking off the landing pad, and here comes another tourist helicopter, but like way higher up as the other helicopter's taking off. Then the video switches to the helicopter that's crossing the path, and the pilot is looking to his right. Again, as a pilot, guys, whether you're in a plane or a helicopter, you're supposed to scan at all times. You're constantly scanning, like when you drive. When they tell you to drive, you don't drive your car and look fucking one way. You're constantly checking your mirrors. You're driving, you're looking fucking all over the place. You're looking at your side views, your rear view. You're looking ahead. You glance over your shoulders, especially when you're changing lane. You're doing all of this when you're driving a vehicle. When you're driving a plane, when you're flying a plane or a helicopter, you're constantly scanning. Your head is never locked in one position, not for too long. So in Australia, the pilot is locked over to the right, and the passenger in the back taps him on the shoulder, and then goes, and then they collide. The helicopters like bump into each other and make an emergency landing. Everybody survived. I don't think anybody was really hurt. My point is, something wasn't right with the DC one. Now, people said DEI about the plane last year where the door popped off and that kid lost his shirt and his phone. They were like, that was a DEI crew because that was an all-woman crew that built that plane or that door or some shit like that. And then they promoted it. That could be so. And could DEI or is DEI costing lives? If the helicopter pilot is at fault, then yes. Will we see more of this in the future of people who are not qualified being in positions and costing lives? Absolutely. Right now, in the fire department, nationwide, in the fire department, women can be hidden throughout the job, right? One chick in a firehouse can be disguised or masked by guys helping out around her. So you can have one chick that can't do her job. But if you got 4 other guys to cover for her, it's fine. Where the problem becomes a problem if you have 4 women who can't do their job, like that idiot fire chick that said if your husband is in a bad place, he shouldn't have been there. If he's in that fire, he shouldn't be in that position. Like, who the fuck says that, right? And you have shit like that. Women making DEI comments like that, because I'm going to call it a DEI comment. She's making a DEI comment in a video, and then they play this video for everyone to see, and she thinks it's okay. You know, I mean, someone said she got fired for it or she got in trouble for it later on, but who knows? It was a dumb thing to say. That's like me being a fireman and going, "Yeah, you should have been in the middle of that fire. Next time, find your way out." You know, like, why would you say that? Our job as a firefighter, guys, is to do our jobs, and we find it very fun. I know a lot of you guys don't get it, but going into a fire is super fucking fun. It's one of the most fun things you'll ever do. And yes, the excitement we get out of it is on the backs of somebody going through something horrific. We can't deny that. But that is how we become good at our jobs. Is unfortunately going into a fire at somebody's worst time. That's when we shine. That is when doctors shine. Surgeons, that is. A surgeon who's looking for the ultimate trauma to see if they can put that guy back together again. That is how you become better. You become better at somebody's lowest point in their life. That's just how it is. And fires for us are absolutely awesome. I mean, especially if you go to a store that's like closed at night, there's no one involved in the store, just products. Those are fun too, right? I mean, we don't get to play as much in those because, you know, risking our lives for products is stupid. Where we risk our lives the most is obviously people in buildings. Whether we dangle off the side of a building to come, you know, lower down and get somebody out of a window, or crawl through a burning apartment to get a baby or an adult and drag them out. That's where we find our fun. You know. Yeah, the adrenaline rush is real. It's real. I mean, listen, there's no adrenaline rush sitting at a desk all day, right? But going to a fire, or even just a possibility, like sometimes you'll get multiple calls and then you get there and it was like a language barrier. That hurts. That's like only guys can understand it. It's sort of like blue balls, right? Sort of like you're almost there, and then you get to that box or fire, and it's not a fire. It was a language barrier, you know. And the language barrier was the person couldn't put their stove on, so they said fire instead of, like, you know, whatever the hell they were supposed to say. So there's always that, you know. Hero is a real thing. Hero is, yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call us heroes. I would just say we have fun. You know, it is what it is. No rush. No rush at a desk. I just find it's yeah. But anyway, so now if you have women guys who can't do the job, well, you have people, because listen, they're hiring guys that cannot do the job. I used to do recruitment for the FDNY, and this was back probably almost 15 years ago, right? What am I, 20? No, I would say about 10 years ago, right? So I go to recruit. I start doing recruitment, and they're telling me that, you know, that things I can't say. So I would tell people when I recruited them, I'm like, listen, the benefits are awesome. The money we make is good. Back then was good. The money we make now is even better. But I said, the money we make is good. I said, things are good. But I said, but you have to go into a fire sometimes. I said, you have to crawl down a fucking hallway. That's the fire rolling above you. You got to take that nozzle and you got to make that push into that apartment. You got to put it all on the fucking line sometimes to get somebody out of a situation. That is the job. Not the days off, not the pay, not the vacation, you know, not the medical benefits. I didn't care about any of that shit when I got on. I still don't. But when I was telling people that in recruitment, that's why I got kicked out of recruitment. They were like, yo, you know, I was like, all right, so they kicked me out because I was telling people what is expected of them. Now it's even worse. Like, it's really bad now. People are, you know, especially the women. You're a chick and you get on the FDNY, you're getting through the class. You could bomb dramatically. You can't do a pull-up to save your life. You can't run to save your life. You can't hold on to that hose line. You're still getting hired. This is the danger that they're putting us at in the job. And then, of course, some people probably don't want me to talk about it. I don't give a fuck. Fire me. I don't care. But we want quality people in the firehouses. The people of New York want quality people in the firehouses. You want quality cops. You don't want a squad car to pull up and two chicks 5 feet tall come jumping out of it acting like tough guys. This one time, this is like 10 years ago, almost 15 years ago actually. All right, I'm in I think I was in Brooklyn, and I was moonlighting as an EMT, right? So I was a fireman, but I was moonlighting as an EMT. And I remember the fucking car pulls up, RMP pulls up to some bullshit. It was bullshit. But these two girls got out. And they had to have been 5 feet tall, maybe shorter. And I remember thinking to myself, one, they were extremely hot for cops. But two, more importantly, they were the littlest thing in the world. Now, unless they transformed and they did the Wonder Twins, activate, and one jumped on one's shoulders and then they became 6 feet tall, that might have been the only way it worked out. But these two chicks got out of the car and I'm like, who the fuck's going to take them serious? I mean, listen, I don't mean to take away from any female cops that are on here, but if a female cop yells at me, I laugh. I start laughing. I don't know why. It maybe it's a trigger. Who knows? But they start yelling at me. I just start laughing. I don't take it seriously. My mother didn't laugh at us. I mean, my mother didn't yell at us. She just started beating us because she was a correction officer, right? She'd throw us, she was like, inmate 4589. She'd be talking to me, right? I'm like, yes, mom, and she had us in line. The women back in the 80s, they were tougher cops and correction officers than the women now. I don't understand the disconnect. I don't understand. Some shade, it was worse than a clown car. But the women now, they say, sir, stand there. I'm like, no one can take that seriously. You can't take a soft-ass voice all serious and shit. You're a dude, yo, motherfucker. You're like, all right, it gets your attention. But a fucking chick, get on the floor. It doesn't do anything. Did you ever use Purple K? Master Blaster, no. We had it on the rig, but I never got to use it. So, the more this starts to happen, guys, the more DEI is going to start costing lives. Right now, like I said, at least in the fire department, the police department, they could be hidden. They could be put in different places. They could fuck up, and we'll put him here. We'll put her there. Done. You even have guys that should not be on the job. You have weak ass, bitch ass, bow-legged bitch men on the job trying to become cops and firemen. They do not need to be in it. They're guys that weigh like 101 pounds. What is Mr. 101 pounds going to do if I go down? Tough chicks will always have roller derby. That's it. I like roller derby. I mean, again, the DEI is ruining for everybody. Everyone. So it's definitely going to be a problem in the future. I would almost say the near future. I mean, if this plane crash was a pilot error, if the helicopter crash, the plane crash in Canada was pilot error, if the helicopter crash was pilot error, this is going to be a big to-do. Because, yes, we cannot be putting women or people of color over actual people who did well on their test, who scored high on their test, who are qualified to do the job. We can't be putting those people below and then putting shitbags above because, oh, she's a black lesbian. Oh, like this bullshit. This, I hope a lot of you get upset. I'm going to do a video on this probably next week. Not probably, I will do it next week. So, the Wicked Witch, Wicked, right? The Wicked Witch of the West, the black chick that played the Wicked Witch of the West, that bitch happens to be, like a lesbian or whatever it is, right? All right, fine. She's playing Jesus Christ Superstar in the new version that they're doing, I think, next year. Now, for those that don't know, Jesus Christ Superstar is about a disheveled Jesus Christ, and there's a little more to it. Like I said, I'm going to do more. Now, the play came out in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And the movie was about, it was a play, then it was a movie. And I think the movie was late 70s, early 80s. I want to say late 70s. I want to say 70, 76 or 77, maybe even 75. And it's about a man who's Jesus Christ. So now they're saying that they want to pick a black, bold lesbian to play Jesus Christ. It's one thing if it would have been God, and then you could have got away with making her God. You absolutely could have got away with it. You know what I mean? People are going to bitch and moan about it, fine. But you cannot make a woman, doesn't matter what color she is, Jesus Christ. But then you make, then it's a lesbian and a bald-headed lesbian, and that's Jesus Christ. People are up in arms over it, and of course the director is trying to not the director, one of the producers of the screenplay is trying to go to her aid as why she should play it. There's no fucking reason. I did hear a lesbian was going to play Jesus. Yeah. So again, the movie is 73. All right. Thank you, Joe and Rhonda. Appreciate it. So yeah, it's again that's bad. Again, that's DEI shit. Now is that going to hurt anybody? Probably not. But you're absolutely not wise to mock God. That's what. Listen, there's a part of me that wants them to go through with this because if they're mocking Jesus, this is not going to end well for them. That's all I can say. It's absolutely not going to end well. They're gonna almost regret mocking Jesus. Like 1,000% sure they are. I mean, it's almost like any movie that's ever done something with ghosts or what you call it, they had their problems on the set. This would probably be that movie that will have a lot of problems on the set. No, Tony Smith, we know that Jesus is not God, but it's the Son of God, and you're still making fun of him or you're still mocking him, right? I mean, granted, listen, we have to be fair, right? The white community, the white people back in the 60s and the 50s, they turned a lot of black heroes into white people. Cleopatra not being a hero, but remember, Cleopatra was Egyptian, and Elizabeth Taylor came out all Egyptian like, right? So they've done this shit over time. Jesus and, well, I don't know about Moses, but Jesus is not white. Jesus is a brownish skinned guy, whether that's Arab or whatever it is. He's not African American. He doesn't have dreads, but he's not white, not blonde hair and blue eyes, right? So people have to understand that. And that's mocking him when you have pictures of a white Jesus or a black Jesus, when in fact, like I said, he was more Arab tone or whatever it is. Um, but making him a black female, yo, that's not going to end well. The Jews always mock Jesus. Yeah, I know. For centuries they have. But nonetheless, guys, people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that, Jesus wasn't white. People don't want to hear Jesus wasn't black. They don't want to hear that shit. People will believe what they believe until the end of time. There's not much more I can do behind that. But Cleopatra was Greek. Cleopatra was Greek? Let's look that up. I have my smart machine here. I don't think Cleopatra was Greek. I thought she was part Greek, which would have still made her of Egypt, 51 to 30 BC. Egypt, the Hellenic Pharaoh. Huh. And she was dog face ugly, according to the statue. She appears I gotta look into it because this shit's all over the place. It mentions her being from Egypt, but then it does say something about Greece. So she was from Greece and became an Egyptian god or goddess, queen. Yeah, all it says is fucking Egypt. Annex of Rome province. No shit. Cleopatra was actually Greek, a member of, there it is, the something dynasty, 323 to 330 BCE. No shit. So she might have been white. All right, I got that wrong. But born to an Egyptian king of Ptolemy, oh shit, was a member of a ancient Greek dynasty. Interesting. Anyway, just turn the lights off when it's time to bed. Her father looked like Zuckerberg. Whose father looked like Zuckerberg? I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Jesus was God in flesh. And again, the religious thing, guys, it's just it never goes over well. It just doesn't. Everybody has their own beliefs in a lot of shit. And you know when we're gonna find out what's what? We're gonna find out all the answers, guys, when we die. That's when we find out all the answers. So right now, everything because everything is theory. Right? I know we got the Bible, and a lot of people swear by the Bible. But there are people who pick and choose shit out of that Bible, which I do not like. I can't stand that. I can't stand when people pick and choose out of any book. You know, like you got a law book, and you see these are all the laws. Let's pick and choose what we like. I hate when people do that. It drives me insane. Nonetheless, they still do it. But we will find out all of the truths and everything needed to know when we die. Simple as that. Convert to the heights of Washington. But yeah, very interesting. This DEI shit. I can see this getting a lot worse. I could see people dying, and even if people pass away because of DEI choices, they're going to cover it up as best as they can until they can't, until people had enough. But the first couple of incidents you see, whether it's in the police department, EMS, corrections, at a job somewhere, they're going to cover it. They're going to cover up their DEI mistakes and blame something else. And at some point, they won't be able to anymore, and then they're going to get caught with their pants down, and then that's that. Then they're going to have to switch it around. But there are a lot of fire departments right now that are getting rid of their DEI initiatives. The fire department, FDNY fire department, for some reason, they're still going ahead with their DEI initiative. That is not going to end well for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to get hurt. But other than that, guys, I am going to go off the air now. I have to go to work tomorrow morning. I don't want to, but I have to go. Right? So I will see you guys next week. I'm hopefully on next Tuesday and Thursday. I will be going to the Ruckus, the Refuge Ruckus next week in Arkansas. So I'll remind you guys next Tuesday of that again. And I'll be in Arkansas. I'll probably have a live stream or two while I'm down there. And then in 2 weeks from that, I'll be in Vegas, Sin City. I'll probably do a live stream from there as well, probably from the hotel room, hopefully overlooking the Vegas Strip. So one thing about Vegas is very nice, guys. It's a very nice place to visit. The food there is awesome. And you don't have to get involved in a lot of the bullshit that's there. A lot of people are like, but they're prostitutes and whores. Don't look at them. What about the gambling? Don't gamble. Just eat the awesome food that's there. Because there is, I don't want to get started, but there's a buffet there that is the buffet of all buffets. It is the mother of all buffets. It's at the Wynn Hotel. I lost my shit at that buffet. Lost my shit. But anyway, not the point. The point, guys, is I will see you guys next week. I will have a Wednesday midweek report. I will have a Angry Pepper Fitness this Sunday. And I will see you guys again next week. Oh, also, no, forget it. Like I said, I'll see you guys next week. Good night, guys. Appreciate it.